The first sound was not a scream. It was the soft click of a phone camera. In the darkness of the enormous bedroom, a small ring light flickered on. Its white glow spread across golden curtains, a king-sized bed, polished marble floors, and glass wardrobes filled with clothes that looked too expensive to touch. Standing in front of the mirror was a young woman. For a moment, anyone watching would have believed she belonged there. She wore a red gown that hugged her body perfectly. A sparkling necklace rested against her collarbone. Her hair had been styled with more care than she had ever given it herself. Her face carried the confidence of someone who had never worried about tomorrow. But below the gown were a pair of old brown slippers. Her name was Alice, 19 years old, and nothing in that room belonged to her. Alice adjusted the phone on its tripod. Her fingers trembled. She glanced at the door. Silence. She looked back into the lens, and the way an actress steps into character, her nervous expression vanished behind a glamorous smile.
Hey, loves. Welcome back to my world.
She lifted one hand gracefully.
Tonight, I thought I'd show you one of my favorite evening looks. You know me, I like something simple.
She laughed softly. Simple. The gown cost more than her mother had ever seen in one place in her life.
What do you think? Dinner in Lagos? Maybe Dubai? Maybe Paris?
Somewhere below, a door opened. Alice's smile did not move, but her eyes did, flicking just once toward the hallway. Footsteps, slow, climbing. She kept talking, her voice never wavering, her hands never stopping. Anyone watching the video later would swear she had nothing to hide. The footsteps reached the top of the stairs, then stopped. Alice held her breath and held her smile at the same time, a skill she had learned only in the last 8 months, the art of being terrified and radiant in the same second. The footsteps turned the other way, a different door, not hers, not this one. Alice exhaled through her nose so the microphone wouldn't catch it.
As I was saying, welcome to my beautiful life.
It was not the first time, it would not be the last. And the truth was that this beautiful life had begun 8 months earlier on a dusty road in Omueze village, and it had looked nothing like this at all. Eight months earlier, the sun rose over Umueze, the color of burnt orange. Roosters called across the compounds. Smoke curled from outdoor kitchens. Children hurried down the road with buckets balanced on their heads. Alice stood beside the road in a faded Ankara dress, one small traveling bag at her feet. Her mother, Mama Alice, held her hand like she was afraid the wind might take her. "You will call me every Sunday." "Yes, Mama." "Not one Sunday you remember, another you forget." "I won't forget." Mama Alice studied Alice's face the way a woman studies something she is about to lose. Mama Alice said to Alice, "Lagos is not Umueze." "I know." "You don't know, but you will." She touched Alice's cheek. "Your father died when you were still small. Since then, it has been you and me. Whatever you see in that city, don't let it convince you that we were never enough." "I won't, Mama." But even as she said it, Alice's eyes drifted past her mother's shoulder, past the palm trees, past the rusted zinc roofs, toward whatever waited beyond them. She had seen Lagos only on television. Tall buildings, beautiful cars, young women who became famous for simply existing beautifully online. Sometimes, fetching water, she had imagined herself inside those same screens. Imagined strangers knowing her name. the bus conductor shouted. "Lagos! Lagos! We are moving!" Mama Alice pulled her into one last fierce embrace.
Remember yourself. I will. And remember God.
Alice climbed on board, pressed her palm to the window glass, and watched her mother shrink and shrink until the village folded itself away behind a curve in the road. She was afraid. But underneath the fear, something else was awake, something that felt for the first time in her life like being chosen for a bigger story. Television had not prepared her for the Florence mansion. Tall black gates, security cameras blinking at the entrance, 2 cars gleaming inside the compound like they were posing for something. The house itself looked less like a home and more like a hotel that had never once needed a guest. Inside, a chandelier hung above the foyer like hundreds of crystals frozen mid-fall. A marble staircase curved toward the upper floor. The air smelt of perfume and furniture polish. Alice stopped walking and simply stared. "Are you planning to stand there until tomorrow?" Madame Florence asked. She turned. Madame Florence James stood by the staircase, early 50s, elegant, the kind of woman who dressed for important meetings even inside her own home. "Your aunt said you are hardworking." "Yes, madam." "I did not ask you to agree. I said that is what she told me." Alice said nothing this time. Madame Florence almost smiled. "You will clean, you will help Blessing in the kitchen, you will wash what is assigned to you, you will not answer me rudely, and you will not bring strangers into my house." "Yes, madam." "And there are rooms upstairs you do not enter unless you are told to, especially my daughter's." Madame Florence's eyes moved briefly to the small traveling bag at Alice's feet. The strap reknotted where it had frayed, the corners squared with care, everything about it arranged by someone unwilling to let a small thing look neglected. She said nothing about it, but something in her face registered it and filed it away, the way she filed away every detail of everything that passed through her house. "You keep your own things tidy, I see." "I try, madam." "Try harder with mine." She turned before Alice could tell whether that had been a compliment. From a nearby sofa, without lifting her eyes from her phone, a voice cut in. "Mummy, is this the new girl?" "Yes." "How long will this one last?" "Tiwa." "I'm only asking." Tiwa James was 20, beautiful, spoiled, and rarely looked at anything for longer than her phone deserved. Her eyes flicked up, assessed Alice for exactly 2 seconds, and returned to the screen. It was enough time for her to feel weighed and found unremarkable. "Blessing," Madame Florence called out. A warm-faced woman appeared from the kitchen doorway. "Ma," Blessing said. "Show her where she'll stay." Blessing smiled at Alice, though nobody else in the house had yet. "Come, my dear." The room at the back of the house was small. A bed, a narrow wardrobe, a plastic chair, one tiny window. After the long journey from Omueze, Alice sat on the thin mattress and smiled anyway. She had made it to Lagos. That night, lying in the dark, she opened the cracked screen phone she'd brought from home and searched until she found a woman with 3 million followers walking through a marbled apartment, talking to no one and everyone at once. Never be afraid to dream big. You deserve the life you imagine. Alice repeated the words under her breath like a verse. The life I imagine. From that night, the dream moved in and did not leave. Weeks folded into months. Alice woke before the house did. She swept, mopped, carried laundry, learned which of Madame Florence's silences meant don't speak and which meant keep going. Slowly, the way trust does, it accumulated, small and unremarked, like dust settling in a corner no one checks. She sent part of her salary home every month, but secretly she kept something back. 5,000, then 10, then 30, folded into an old sock and hidden under her mattress like a second private heartbeat. One night, Blessing walked in without knocking. Alice startled, pushed the sock beneath her pillow too quickly to look natural. "Why are you jumping like somebody that stole meat from the pot?" Blessing asked. "Nothing, Auntie." Blessing's eyes moved, unhurried, to the corner of fabric peeking from under the pillow. "You're saving." It wasn't a question. Alice nodded anyway. "Good. Lagos can finish money faster than fire finishes dry grass. What are you saving for?" Blessing asked. "A phone." "Phone? A good one," Alice responded. Blessing laughed and shook her head on her way out. Young people. But Alice sat very still after she left, one hand resting over the sock, like it might otherwise fly away. She was not saving for a phone the way Blessing imagined it. She was saving for a door. She just didn't have the words for that yet. The electronic shop smelled of new plastic and soda. The owner set a smartphone on the counter like he was presenting evidence. "This one has a very good camera, front and back. Can it make clear videos at night?" "With light, yes," the owner replied. "Can I edit on it, slow motion?" Alice asked. Yes. He smiled, recognizing her. "You have been asking about this phone for almost 1 month." "Because I wanted to be sure." "And now you're sure?" She placed the folded sock's entire contents on the counter. "Very sure," Alice remarked. He counted it, slid a cheap ring light tripod in beside the box, small discount, and asked what she planned to do with it all. Alice hugged the box to her chest. "Start my new life." That evening, in her small room, she tried. "Hello, my name is Alice and..." Alice said. Delete. "Hi everybody, welcome to my..." Alice added. Delete. The room behind her looked exactly like what it was. Plain, dim, borrowed light from a cracked window. Nothing exciting lived in this frame. She dropped back onto the bed, defeated by her own 4 walls. And that was when she heard Tiwa laughing on the stairs above her. Alice stepped into the passage. Tiwa was descending in a sparkling gown, pausing before the enormous hallway mirror to take photo after photo. "No, delete that one." "You look good." "The lighting is ugly here." Ugly, Alice thought, staring at the chandelier throwing gold across the marble. She had never in her life stood somewhere she could call the lighting ugly. That night, long after the house had gone quiet, her feet carried her upstairs before her mind had agreed to it. She knew the room. She knew exactly which door it was. The door was open a crack. "Just look," Alice whispered. She pushed it wider. Shoes arranged like artwork, a wardrobe of color, a dressing mirror the size of a door. She touched a red gown, pulled her hand back, touched it again. Just once, Alice continued. She wore it. It fit almost cruelly well. In the mirror, for several seconds, she did not recognize the girl looking back, and something in her chest, some old ache, went quiet for the first time in months. She set up the tripod, pressed record.
Hey loves, welcome back to my world.
Welcome back to my world, Alice remarked. She paused. Back. Nobody had ever been there before. She smiled anyway and kept going. Afterward, she returned every item exactly where she'd found it, hanger facing the same way, necklace on the same hook, and slipped back to her room with her heart still hammering from the size of what she'd just done. The question of a name came next. She typed at Alice Luxury. deleted it. At Lagos Princess, deleted it. Her eyes drifted upward toward the ceiling, toward the room she just left. Tiwa locks, the shopping bags all said. At Tiwa locks life, Alice typed. She posted before she could talk herself out of it. By morning, 216 views. Alice nearly screamed into her pillow. By the next video, 1,000, then 3, then 15,000. It became routine the way a secret does, quietly and then all at once. Whenever the family traveled, or slept early, or simply forgot to lock a door behind them, Alice transformed. Tea on the balcony, a hand trailing the edge of the pole, Tiwa's designer bag held up to catch the light. People always ask which bag I use the most. She never showed the car's number plate. She never said a name that wasn't her own screen name. Every lie came easier than the one before it, and every one of them worked. 20,000, 80, 150. The nearest she came to being caught happened on a Tuesday. She was midway through a video in the upstairs sitting room, a room Tiwa rarely used before evening, when she heard the front gate groan open below. Wrong day. Madame Florence wasn't due back until dark. Alice didn't panic. She had learned, by then, the particular calm of a person who has rehearsed disaster in her head so many times that the real thing feels almost familiar. She kept talking to the camera, walked it backward toward the door as she spoke, and killed the ring light with her foot exactly as the front door opened downstairs. She was in the corridor, phone in her pocket, duster in her hand, by the time Madame Florence's heels reached the landing. Have you finished upstairs? Almost, madam. Madame Florence looked at her for 1 second longer than necessary, the way a woman looks at a room she can't quite remember leaving untidy, and then continued on toward her own door. Alice did not breathe again until she heard it close. That night, comments flooded the account faster than she could read them. She's literally living my dream. Rich girl aesthetic. I want her life. Something in Alice went warm reading them. A warmth she recognized uneasily as the same warmth she used to feel dancing badly at the New Yam Festival. Except this time, nobody was watching her. They were watching someone she had built out of borrowed light. And the more they loved that girl, the harder it became to remember which one of them Alice actually was. It was Blessing who saw it first. Alice, come and see something. Alice wiped her hands on her wrapper and crossed the kitchen. Blessing held out her phone, already playing. There she was, sunglasses on, walking the Florence hallway like she owned every tile of it. My daughter sent me this. Oh, Alice said too quickly. Look at the background. Alice made herself look. Doesn't this resemble this house? Blessing asked. Many rich people's houses look alike, Auntie. Even the painting? The painting in the video hung directly behind them, close enough to touch. Maybe they bought the same one, Alice said. Blessing said nothing for a long moment. She wasn't a woman who accused. She was a woman who waited and let silence do the accusing for her. Then she simply nodded once and returned to her pot.
What? Nothing, Blessing replied. She didn't bring it up again. But for the next week, Alice caught her watching. Not with suspicion exactly. More like a woman doing arithmetic she wasn't ready to say out loud. One evening, wringing a cloth over the sink, Blessing spoke without looking up. You know, Madam did not marry into all this. Ma? She built her business before Oga ever came near her. Fabric, then property, then more property. She just doesn't like to talk about where she started. People who build something themselves are usually the ones who can smell it on somebody else, Blessing responded. She said it lightly like gossip and went back to her cloth. Alice filed it away without knowing yet that she would need it. Alice gripped the kitchen counter after Blessing left the room and whispered a small prayer to nobody in particular. Unknown to her, someone else had already done the arithmetic and finished it. Tiwa had watched 3 videos from Tiwa Locke's life that same week. The bedroom curtain, her mother's balcony chair, a handbag she remembered searching for online only days earlier. She enlarged the 3rd one, paused it, and there, caught for less than a second in the dressing mirror, was a slice of a face that was not her own.
Alice, Tiwa said quietly. She didn't say anything to anyone. She simply smiled, the way people smile when they found a card worth holding. The reveal, when it came, arrived at the dinner table, the one place in the house where nobody expected anything to happen. Florence, come and see this. This internet generation is funny. This girl claims she lives in a mansion, Mr. James said. And? Look behind her. That looks like your chandelier, Mr. James replied. Madame Florence took the phone. She didn't need a second look. She had spent 20 years noticing which staff moved a vase 2 inches to the left, which driver returned the car with less fuel than he claimed. Her frown deepened with every second of footage. That is my curtain. That is my chair. That is my daughter's mirror, angled the way only someone who cleans this house every day would know to angle it. Exactly, Mr. James called out. Who is this girl? Alice stood by the table holding a bowl of soup, and her hands began to shake before her mind had caught up to why. A spoon slipped, a single drop landed on the white cloth.
Alice, Madame Florence called out. Sorry, Madame, Alice called out. Be careful. She looked across the table, not for help, not for mercy, just to see who else had noticed, and found Tiwa already watching her. Not angry, not shocked, smiling. Interesting, Tiwa said. That one word followed Alice all the way back to her room. She locked the door, opened the app, watched the follower count sit there. 263,000, like evidence she couldn't burn fast enough. Her thumb hovered over delete account. I have to stop, Alice said to herself. A knock. 2. Who is it? Alice asked. No answer. The door opened anyway. Tiwa stood in the frame, the ring light tripod in one hand, her own phone in the other. At Tiwa Locke's life glowing on the screen. So, Alice could not make her legs move. You've been living my life without me, Tiwa added. Miss Tiwa, please, don't. Please don't tell Madam. I'll delete everything. I swear it. Tonight I'll delete. Tiwa laughed, genuinely, like Alice had said something almost sweet in its stupidity. Do you know how many girls in this city buy fake followers because they can't reach the numbers you have by accident? Alice said nothing. There was nothing yet to say. Tiwa asked, how much have you made? Nothing, small gifts. It hasn't started tying properly. Tiwa considered this the way a person considers a stock that's about to move. Then listened carefully. She sat, unbothered on the edge of Alice's narrow bed, as if she were the one who belonged in this room, and Alice the visitor. You keep the account. You keep posting, properly this time. My clothes, my room, my jewelry, when I allow it, Tiwa continued. Why would you? Because when the money starts, I take 40%. 40? Alice asked. Yes. I built the page. Inside whose house, wearing whose clothes, using whose life, Alice, Tiwa replied. Silence did the rest of her argument for her.
Exactly, Tiwa remarked. I can just stop. I can walk away from all of it. You can. Tiwa lifted her phone, thumb hovering over her mother's contact card, unhurried, almost bored. And I can call mommy. Alice's eyes found her face immediately. You know her. She'll have you on a bus back to Umueze before sunrise, and she won't even raise her voice doing it, Tiwa said. Please, 40%, Alice. Say it.
The silence stretched long enough that Alice could hear her own heartbeat over it. Okay, Alice said, barely audible. Good. She set the tripod down on the mattress like she was planting a flag. Tomorrow we shoot, Tiwa added. From that night on, the dream Alice had built with her own saved money stopped belonging to her at all. Tiwa directed the way people direct when they've never once been told no. Smile properly. I am smiling. You look like somebody died. Alice widened the smile until her cheeks ached and did the line again until Tiwa nodded once. Not approval, just permission to stop. One evening, Tiwa produced a necklace from the very back of the wardrobe, one Alice recognized instantly. That one belongs to Madame. So? I don't want trouble, Alice replied. You walked into trouble 8 months ago. This is just a necklace, Tiwa responded. Please, choose another one. Wait. Alice wore it. She always wore it in the end. That was the part that frightened her more than any single request. Not the necklace, the always. Then, 3 weeks into the arrangement, something changed the shape of the danger entirely.
A message arrived on the account. Not a gift, not a comment, but an offer. A skincare brand wanted Tiwa for a paid campaign. 4 videos, a fixed fee, and one non-negotiable line at the bottom. A 10-minute live video call with our marketing team before signing. Tiwa read it twice, delighted. This is real money, not small gifts, real money. A call. Tiwa, they'll want to see my face and know I'm not who the account says. So, don't show your face. Say a bad network. Say a bad lighting. For 10 minutes, Alice asked. Figure it out. That's 40% of a very large number. The call came on a Thursday, while Madame Florence was 2 floors below, entertaining guests. Alice sat in the dark with the camera angled at the ceiling, her voice pitched carefully higher than her own, answering questions about a lifestyle she had never lived, sweating through a blouse Tiwa had chosen for her. Halfway through, a knock rattled the door. Not Tiwa's knock, not Blessing's. Alice, are you in there? I need the good tablecloths, Madame Florence said through the door. Alice froze mid-sentence, muted herself with a shaking thumb, and answered through the wood in a voice scraped as flat and normal as she could make it. 1 minute, madame. She ended the call with an apology about a network fault and sat on the floor afterward with her knees pulled to her chest, understanding for the first time how close the whole structure had come to collapsing on a Thursday over tablecloths. Afterward, alone, she would open the comments like a woman checking a wound to see if it had stopped bleeding. Your life is perfect. I wish I was you. You inspire me. You want to be me? Alice said quietly to the screen. She laughed and it came out wrong, more air than sound. You don't even know me, Alice added. She had stopped being able to tell some nights whether she was crying because of Tiwa or because of the necklace or because 260,000 strangers were in love with a girl who did not exist, while the girl who did exist sat alone in a room the size of a wardrobe waiting for permission to take off borrowed jewelry. Her mother's call came on a Sunday, the way it always did. My daughter. Mama, are you eating? Yes. Don't lie to me. Your voice sounds thin.
Alice managed a small smile despite herself.
Something happened here today. Ngozi's daughter showed me a video. There is a girl online, beautiful clothes, big house. People are saying she's from money. She looks like you, Mama Alice added. Alice's smile died on her face. I told them, my Alice works in a rich person's house. Maybe that's why the girl resembles her, Mama Alice continued. Alice? What if it was me? Alice asked. Her mother laughed, then didn't. Alice. Silence stretched down the phone line, all the way from Lagos to Umueze and back. Is it you? Mama Alice asked. Alice began to cry before she could stop herself. And once she started, she found she couldn't explain it in small pieces. It came out in a flood. The borrowed gowns, the borrowed rooms, the borrowed name, the 40%, all of it arriving out of order and too fast. And when you remove those clothes, do you still like yourself? Mama Alice said when she could speak again. Alice opened her mouth. Nothing came. Alice? Mama Alice asked. I don't know, Mama. That is the problem. A pause, and then softer. When you were 6, you used to dance in front of everybody at the New Yam Festival, Mama Alice remarked.
What laugh escaped Alice despite everything. Your dress was never the best dress there, Mama Alice said. Mama, you danced terribly. I danced terribly, Alice said, laughing through tears. But you were happy. You didn't need somebody else's clothes before you could make people smile. Alice pressed the phone hard against her ear, as if she could hold the words there physically. Find that girl again, Mama Alice added. The call ended. Alice sat very still on the edge of her bed for a long time afterward, looking around the small room as though seeing it for the first time in months. The plastic chair, the old slippers, the work uniform on its nail. This was her real life, and for months she had treated it like something to be hidden the moment the ring light came on. That night, she set her phone on a stack of books. No ring light, no borrowed necklace, no gown. Just Alice. She pressed record and for several seconds could not make herself speak. Then,
Hello. My name is not Tiwa.
her voice shook.
My name is Alice.
Alice remarked.
I am 19. I come from Umuezi village. My mother still lives there.
Alice said. She turned the phone slightly, showing the small room, the plastic chair, the nail on the wall.
This is where I actually live. I work as a house help. The mansion you've been seeing doesn't belong to me. The clothes don't belong to me. I borrowed all of you and I lied to every one of you about who I was.
A tear slipped free before she could stop it.
At first, I told myself it was only entertainment.
Alice continued. She wiped her cheek and pressed on.
Then people started following me. And I liked it. I liked that people wanted my life. Because my real one had never felt like something anybody would want. My mother asked me something tonight. She asked if I still liked myself once I took the borrowed clothes off. And I couldn't answer her. So this is me answering now. I am Alice. I am a village girl. I am a house help. I don't own a mansion, and I don't own designer clothes, but I saved my own salary to buy this phone. I taught myself to film. I taught myself to edit. And somehow I made 200,000 people watch me do it.
Her smile, when it came, was fragile but real.
That part is mine. I'm sorry I lied to you. If you unfollow me, I understand. But from tonight, whatever you see here will be true. Good night.
She stared at the recording for nearly 10 minutes before she found the courage to press post. By morning, her phone would not stop shaking itself off the pillow. 1.2 million views. Wait, she saved money from working as a maid to buy her own equipment? Respect. This is more inspiring than the fake luxury ever was. Please don't delete your account. We want the real Alice. Small gifts began arriving. 500 naira, 1,000, 2,000, and then a message from a local beauty brand asking to talk. Alice sat with her hand over her mouth, unable to fully believe any of it, when the door flew open without a knock. "What have you done?" Tiwa asked. "I told the truth. You destroyed everything. We had a deal." "You threatened me into that deal," Alice responded, "and you agreed to it." "Because I was afraid." Alice stood, and for the first time since the necklace, she didn't look away. "I'm tired, Tiwa. Tired of being scared every time somebody opens a door in this house. You stole my identity. And I admitted it to everyone. I never once used your name." A voice came from the passage behind them, unhurried and cold as marble. "But I think my name is about to be mentioned now. My office, both of you," Madame Florence said. Madame Florence's tablet sat open between them. The confession paused mid-frame. 40% Tiwa? "Mommy, she was already..." "Did you threaten to expose her unless she paid you?" Silence answered before Tiwa could. "Wonderful," Madame Florence added. She turned to Alice, whose stomach dropped through the floor. "You entered my daughter's room after I warned you not to. You wore what wasn't yours. You used my home to deceive strangers. Was it wrong?" Madame Florence asked. "Very wrong, madame. I don't have an excuse." Madame Florence studied her for a long moment. "No excuse. Good. I have had 11 girls work in this house since Tiwa was born. Not one of them ever saved a salary for 8 months instead of spending it. And not one of them ever built something with her own 2 hands that made 200,000 strangers stop scrolling. I did not get where I am by rewarding people for having nothing. I got here by recognizing when somebody has something, even if they went about it the wrong way." She turned back to her daughter. "That is what an apology sounds like, Tiwa. Not sorry. An admission, followed by evidence that you'll do better," Madame Florence continued. She tapped the tablet once. "This has almost 2 million views. Half the internet apparently believes you are some kind of inspiration," Madame Florence remarked. "Madame, I haven't finished. You will never enter Tiwa's room again without permission. My home is not your studio. But what you do outside working hours, using your own name and your own belongings, that is your business." Alice stared, certain she'd misheard. "Don't make me repeat myself," Madame Florence said. She turned to Tiwa, whose face had gone pale. "Every naira you collected from this girl will be returned today. Or would you prefer I call your father?" Madame Florence asked. Tiwa said nothing at all. Outside the office, she caught Alice's arm before she could walk away. "Don't think we're friends now." "I didn't. And don't get proud because people like you." "I learned something about that, actually," Alice answered. "What?" "It's better when they like the person I actually am," Alice replied. She walked away before Tiwa could find an answer, and for the first time in 8 months, no part of her was performing for anyone at all. The next video was filmed in the kitchen beside Blessing, who crossed her arms the moment the phone came out. "Auntie Blessing, today we're teaching them how to make proper Nigerian jollof," Alice remarked. "We?" "You don't have to show your face," Alice responded. "Good. Did you not come here and bond stew your first week?" Alice asked. "Please don't embarrass me." The audience loved her more for it. Alice began showing what was actually true. Simple hairstyles, affordable clothes, village recipes, the real broom she swept the compound with, held up like a punchline. "Imported from Paris." "Paris will soon arrest you," Blessing said off camera. She posted a video titled, "How I Bought My First Phone with My House Help Salary," and it traveled further than anything Borrowed had ever had. 300,000 followers,
500, a million. This time, the number didn't feel like a chain. It felt like proof. The first brand payment landed in her account like a small earthquake. This is money. For video. How many? Blessing asked. 3. I have chosen the wrong profession. The first thing Alice did with it was send it home. Her mother called before the alert had even finished loading. Alice, did you send me this? Who else will send you money, Mama? Angel Gabriel? Her mother laughed and then went quiet in a way Alice recognized. You remember what I told you before you got on that bus? Don't let the city change who you are. Yes, the city changed me, Mama, but I think it changed me back, Alice answered. Months later, on her final morning in the mansion, Madame Florence handed her a sealed envelope across the office desk. Not your salary, that's already paid. Consider it a contribution towards your new beginning. Thank you. Never build your success on something you are afraid people will discover.
I won't, Alice replied. And when you become one of those big internet people, don't come here pretending you don't know us. Never, madam. At the gate, Tiwa found her before she could leave. Tiwa, I saw your new apartment. It's small. Very small. Smaller than my bedroom. Probably, Alice responded. It looks nice though. Is this you trying to say something nice? Don't ruin it. Tiwa held out a hand. Alice looked at it and hugged her instead. Village girl. Spoilt rich girl. For the first time, there was no fear left standing between them. The new apartment had no chandelier, no marble staircase, no walk-in wardrobe, just a small sofa, a narrow kitchen, and a balcony that looked out over a busy, unglamorous stretch of Lagos. Alice walked through every room of it like she'd been handed a palace. That evening, she set the same ring light, once hidden in a garden shed, now simply hers, beside the window, and looked at herself on the screen. Simple clothes, natural hair, no borrowed jewelry, just a plain wall behind her. She pressed record, and this time, the smile required no acting at all. Hey loves, welcome to my new home. And before anybody laughs, yes, you can see almost the whole apartment from where I'm sitting, Alice said. She looked around at everything she owned outright. But it's mine. I paid for it with money I earned using my own name. There was a time I thought people would only watch me if I lived inside somebody else's dream. I was wrong, Alice added. She thought of her mother, of a girl dancing badly at a festival long before any of this, of a doll she'd once saved for without knowing what to call it. So if you're watching from a small room, from a village, from somewhere you think nobody is admiring you, start there. You don't need to borrow somebody's life before your own becomes worth watching, Alice continued. She ended the recording and walked out onto the balcony. The Lagos sun was going down, throwing orange light across 100 rooftops that weren't hers either, in a city that had never once asked her to pretend. She lifted her phone and filmed the skyline instead of herself, for once, with nothing left to hide and no footsteps left to fear. A notification slid across the screen. A number climbing. She glanced at it, felt the old flicker of excitement rise, and just as quickly settle. She didn't need to stare at it anymore. She already knew who she was. My own light was enough, Alice said quietly to no one.
I don't need somebody else's light to make the